So scalpers and bots are looking to destroy Christmas. They're marking up these consoles to 1,300, 1,400. I mean, just thousands of dollars in some cases. You have to send a message that this behavior is not okay by not being weak-kneed and definitely not giving them the money, because this is going to continue to happen. These scumbags like this guy that'll buy up 4 to 5 of these consoles and just sit on them, because why not? Why not? Because if they know that the money's going to be there, they know that people are going to do this, why wouldn't they continue to do this year after year? A person doing something like this isn't his first rodeo. This isn't the first time he's bought up all these kinds of consoles, right? And got comfortable enough to the point where he's going to start scalping the prices. And this is what you're in for. The reality is it's very uncomfortable. It's a very crappy situation, but this is what it is. Now, here's the silver lining though. All they're doing is buying up the buggy, glitchy first batches, because the second batch, third batch, so on and so forth, will be less buggy, more firmware implementations, and you'll likely have a better machine at the end of the day. Now, also, it's important to note at this stage, as we sit in November of 2020, these consoles just barely launched, and there aren't really very many games yet. So I wouldn't really panic, so to speak, because you wouldn't be playing too much other than the old games you're playing right now that look slightly better. And if that's the case, I mean, really, like, that's not that big of a deal. That, again, you're sitting here and you're playing something that looks slightly better, but it's the same story, same experience, same graphics. I mean, they can only do so much, right, with these newer consoles. So, with that in mind, you really don't need to worry too much about not having the next latest and greatest until a really big backlog of games starts being created, and then you start missing out on so many titles that you can't even count them on your hands and toes. Because right now, you're nowhere close to that level, and everything is just kind of waiting to be made. And with that, I mean, I know the excitement of something new and having the latest and greatest might get you, but don't let it cost you this much money. And don't let it ruin your Christmas either. There are other things out there to be excited about. Now, I know a lot of people are trying to also preemptively buy things like a brand new television. You do not need a brand new television for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, or the brand new NVIDIA graphics cards. It is not necessary. And the reason I say that is because this generation of games is targeting 4K 60. And that is going to mean parity across the board, even for PC gamers with the most expensive, most powerful rigs. 4K 60 is going to be where the most stable performance is going to be seen across the board. Now, for people who don't want to hear that, who don't want to buy that, that's fine. But that's what the performance has been admittedly, openly talked about at being. And we already see that being true with Digital Foundry showing dips down into even the 50s, and in some cases on PlayStation, even in the 30s and in the 4K 60 mode. Because the reality is, these consoles are not super mega powerhouses capable of blowing the 4K 60 standard out of the water. 4K 60 is still very demanding to do, even in 2020, let alone the 120 hertz everybody thinks they're going to be getting with these awesome visuals. You are not going to be getting 120 hertz with good visuals. They're going to be the worst visuals your console can possibly output for the sake of you having 120 hertz. And that is as honest as anyone is going to tell you. So while yes, it sucks that you have douchebags buying up all the consoles and making it very impossible for you to get your hands on it, I'm right there. I get you. I understand it. I'm right there understanding the frustration, right? I would love to see the NVIDIA graphics cards. I hate that they scalped that, but really, I'm good where I'm at. Honestly, guys, it's like this. There's always going to be people trying to make shit hard for you, and it's your job to find a way around that and to keep living your life. Don't obsess over this. Don't be that guy sitting there until 4 o'clock in the morning every time a retailer says they're going to restock in the morning at 12 a.m. You're going to be let down because the moment you put it in your cart, those programs will have already wiped them out. That's what they're programmed to do. You are not going to beat thousands to millions of scalpers trying to collect money in all these different countries and then resell them for a profit. This is the time of year they make their big money, and that's how they make their living. And I'm sorry to say, one guy, one gal out there, not going to be enough to beat a whole industry of scalpers. And I'm telling you right now, these companies like Microsoft and Xbox know this happens, and this has happened since at least the PS3 era. They know it happens. They let it happen to create demand for their product so that they get higher numbers of sales than what they would have gotten if they would have just let the normal hype continue to ride. There's a business strategy, it's dirty, but this is how the market is. Again, don't let it ruin your Christmas. Maybe look into buying yourself a nice pre-built PC this Christmas, see what that offers, especially if you were even remotely considering paying the $1,300 price tag that this douche is asking for. I can tell you, you can get a great PC for those kinds of prices. And you don't even have to buy games because you can just emulate all of your games until you have enough to buy games, which come Steam sales in November, I tell you right now, it's going to be so cheap. You're going to, oh my God, you're going to love it. You're going to kick yourself for not doing it earlier. And that was me last December. So I can tell you from a lifelong console gamer's perspective, going to PC has been amazing. I don't use a mouse and keyboard to do my games. I use a Xbox controller and a wireless dongle into my USB port, and I sit on my Sony A8G Bravia OLED and just straight up vibe in the back of my room. You do not have to treat PC like an actual computer. It can be just as console as anything out there. And nobody is really talking about that to the extent that they should, because that's ultimately what converted me from console, because I did not want to use a mouse and keyboard. My point being, you have options. Don't be down in the dumps because scalpers are doing this disgusting crap, $1,300. And it's so bad, even eBay will allow this kind of stuff to be sponsored. They won't take these posts down. They won't tell them they can't resell this. That's why they get away with it. And so long as you have retailers allowing scalpers to have a platform to resell their items on, it's always going to happen. I hope, for one thing, that in the future, these companies like Amazon and eBay will take these listings down and ban them permanently from using any kind of selling application at all, sticking them with all those Xbox consoles that they had so they can go door to door and become a door to door Xbox salesman, because that's what the fuck they deserve. You know, PlayStation salesman, whatever they scalped, because this is a nasty, disgusting anti-consumer practice that only the lowest pieces of garbage will kind of do. And I get it. People want to make money, but there are so many honest ways of doing it, and this is a very dishonest way of doing it by having a computer program literally cheat a market of customers out of products that they've waited for over a year. In some cases, it's really not good business, and don't give these fuckers a dime. They don't deserve it. They are nasty individuals, and that's my message for the day. If you want help with how to get on a PC to kind of at least lessen the blow here, I'm more than happy to help you out. I want to thank you for watching the #1 brand in honesty, and until the next video, don't pay scalpers.